On this episode of ResiWeek, taking a look at Amazon's new product offerings, including a robot dog, software as a service for residential dealers, and the power of local regional shows. All that and more. Next on ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek, episode 296, recorded Monday, October 4th, 2021. Amazon's Astro.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Crestron.
This is ResiWeek, and I am not Matt Scott. My name is Tim Albright, your host. We have no idea really where Matt is today. Somewhere in Canada, I'm certain, mainly because he can't make it to the United States. No, for real, he's taking some time off, so good for him. With us, two New Yorkers / New Jerseyans. First and foremost, Mr. Mark Feinberg. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate being here.
Absolutely. And one of the best and most knowledgeable technologists I know is Mr. Todd Anthony Puma. He's also here. Welcome, sir.
Wow, you took my breath away at that moment. I really do appreciate that. I thought you were talking to Mark or Jeremy. I can't believe you came to me.
Well, no, Jeremy. I love Jeremy, but he's not the best technologist I know. But I am saving him for last because it's his birthday today. So, Mr. Jeremy Glowacki from Res Tech today, welcome, sir, and happy birthday.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, and it's a pleasure to be on with you, and kind of a special treat to the main guy.
We did it on purpose because it's your birthday.
Yeah, it's the OG host, I guess, right? So here we go.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And last time Jeremy and I saw each other in real life, in person, was in Indianapolis for CEDIA Expo 2021. Actually happened about a month or so ago. We'll get to something about that here in a second. Not exactly that, but something similar. First story actually comes to us from our friends over at CE Pro. DTools Cloud is a new quote-unquote complementary software option for longtime system integrators using the DTools platform. If you're not familiar, DTools is a multiple layered system. It's everything from project management to ordering to inventory tracking, and I am certain that I am forgetting one or two things here, but they have been developing a software solution for years. They've actually kind of slowly churned it out. One of the first steps was just kind of walking your client through it as you developed the design, showing them what a inventory list or a quote would be kind of in real time. Then they moved that on to more kind of project management in real time, again from the cloud. Todd, we'll start with you on this. When it comes to project management software, inventory software, stuff like this, where we're getting to is the difference between an on-prem or even a kind of an application-based solution versus the ubiquitous as a service or software solution here. When you're looking at it from a capital expenditure versus an operational expenditure as a business owner, but also as somebody who's in the field, do you have a preference one way or the other? Is it just you've got to figure out where the money's coming from regardless? Where do you sit when it comes to the software that you use to do your job?
Well, we actually do use DTools. We've been using them for about 12 years at this point. For the cloud management side of things, while we're on site, I like to leave it a little bit more personal. I like to talk about what the customer's needs are and kind of custom tailor them to that moment and get to know what their lifestyle needs are. To send a proposal and to write things down and to put it into a software at that moment, I don't feel a need for it, but I do see the value in it for other integrators just to get the task list together, go through everything, and then send it over to their office department so they can build the proposal. I'm a little old school. I like to write things down. I like to bring it back to my desk, go to the computer, and then start entering everything in so I can see it visually. Then from that point, I print it out, and then I go through everything to see if I missed anything or made any mistakes. So for me, this software is not a value, but for other integrators, I see it as a high value.
All right, Mark, same kind of question here. When you're looking at not just DTools or other project management type stuff, but other solutions and other packages, what do you look for when it comes to the software that you use to do your job?
Yeah, I think the world is going to a SaaS model. We went from QuickBooks Desktop probably 5 or 6 years ago to QuickBooks Cloud, QuickBooks Online, I think they call it. It's just it's the way software is going. There's going to be a lot less on-prem, local software, and things will be more cloud-based. People want to be able to pull up a proposal in their app or have a tech in the field know exactly what to pick and pack for that job without having to have an office manager or somebody print out a list. So I see it going this way longer term. As probably the oldest man in the room here, I'm probably a little more old school even than Todd is. I still do some things paper and pencil, or at least print it out and give it to the team, as opposed to we are a DTools Cloud user for the proposal software. Haven't really started using it for the project management side of things yet. I'm still a little more old school for that. Old school being Google Calendar and spreadsheets.
Well, at least you don't have what was it, daytimers back in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm not using the file effects or anything like that.
Well, I appreciate that. Or Rolodex,
Exactly. But no, I think it's the way things are going, and also the techs are, they keep getting younger. Those techs, and they expect more on their more app-based, more cloud-based solutions, as opposed to having to print something out and bring it with them. They want it at their fingertips all the time too.
Yeah. Jeremy, I'm going to kind of take a slight left turn here. Not just DTools, but other platforms have gone to the SaaS model as well as software as a service, as Feinberg mentions. When you look and you talk with integrators, are they going more to that software as a service model, to that cloud-based model? Or do they even have a choice, right? Are they going there because they're being forced to it by companies like Microsoft, by companies like Google?
Well, I think that it does vary, obviously, from individual to individual, but the companies that are realizing that time is of the essence with their team, and if they have a larger team that they have a fleet of vans out there or trucks, that they don't want to have them report back to base, their headquarters, their office at the beginning of the day. They want them just to go maybe straight from their home to the field and save that bit of time, and time is money, and you've got fewer people available to you to do more work these days. So to be able to have that remote access to the software like DTools, or whatever proposal package that you're working on, if it's a salesperson or a tech who is doing the work and having to sort of go through and check off, this was accomplished, this service call happened, and here's what we did. To be able to do that from the field and not have to basically bring back paperwork and then have it transposed into something else, or transferred into something else. I think that's essential today, where it's just so hard to find people and to fill out your staff and your crew out there. So keep them in the field, keep them busy, get all that information back, know what your billing is. I think that's the way to go, and a lot of companies are catching on to that.
Mark and Todd, really quickly for you guys, it's something like Jeremy just said, that automation process where you're kind of eliminating the human element. Does that help you guys where your techs get done in the field and she's done with her job and she clicks off and she signs off on it and then just kind of automates the stuff? Does that help you guys, or are you still kind of that, as you said, the old school mentality where you'd like to see something more paper and pen?
I like to have the conversation because I kind of want to know what happened, what was going on in the job site, what issues did they run into, did they have any problems, how was the handoff to the client. I want to know how those things went. So I want to have that conversation afterwards. So it doesn't really help me that much. But let's be honest, one thing Jeremy mentioned is the software as a service is a recurring revenue stream. It's something we're trying to do for our own businesses, and it's what the software providers are doing. I don't think we're going to have much of a choice down the line. I think this is just the way the software industry is going across the board, not just for our industry.
Well, with that being said, Mark, I do agree. Obviously, we stand on the same viewpoints on most of our business practices. That's pretty well known. But the one thing that I've always stand by is, like you stated, is with that personal communication with our technicians or our staff. I think it's important because there's things that are left out of software. Some people don't have strengths in emails or text messaging or putting things through software. They have more of an expressive personality that they'll communicate with us, things that really did occur. In this room, X, Y, and Z occurred. We had to do this, this, and this. And let me explain what are the next steps with the software, because we have tried that out in the past and we have seen there's been more error. Yeah, and that's the human error, right? Based upon communication through typing. I do the same thing when I'm writing something, I'm going job to job. If it's a text message, I'm not checking to see what the errors are. I believe what I said mentally and put down is correct, but when I read it back, it is not correct. So I'm going to stick with the process that we're moving forward with and communicating with our technicians through the phone or anything else but through electronic communication.
It's interesting to hear actual integrators talk about this. I think that's the best viewpoint for sure. But what I've heard over the years, it's really fascinating because here you have professional technicians and technical people who are either somewhat reluctant to use software in the proposal side or design side, or have just trouble implementing it. And it's not that they don't have the skills to do it. Sometimes it's just the patience and the time to put that into practice and to get everybody else on board. And you may have some turnover in your team, and you've got to train someone new on this whole thing. And so it's just hard to get those pieces in order. And I know DTools has had trouble over the years with just getting folks, they pay for the software, they buy it, they don't implement it, or they don't go through the training. Now it's getting simpler, so you hope that maybe it's not as big of a sort of a rolling update to get to that starting point. But I do find it fascinating that it's you can have all the technology in the world, but maybe it's just not practical because you're doing other stuff with technology and you don't have time to deal with the software piece of it.
Thanks so much for watching this first segment of ResiWeek. To check out the rest of the episode for free, click on the link below or go by the website, AVNation.tv. That's AVNation.tv.